I'd like to call to order the July 23rd, 2024 meeting of the Oconee County Public Library Board of Trustees. We're going to begin with the approval of the minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look over the minutes, or were there any changes or corrections? Good. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion we approve the minutes.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The minutes are approved. 3, I'll turn it over. Do we have anyone sign up for public comment, or did we get any emails or anything like that?
Did you want to?
No comment.
Okay. I did not get any other comments by email,
Okay.
by phone.
Move on, turn over to Blair for the Friends report.
Okay, I was able to fill in for you the, numbers for April, which I did not have at the May meeting. So the April sales, $3,836. The May sales were $47.61, and the June sales, especially with an extra day for a Saturday sale, they did $4,821. So basically, they give us, every 6 months, they give us half right off the top of what they make at these sales. And in their other venues, they're online and all that sort of thing. So we probably are getting about double what we used to from the Friends. They just recently gave me a check last week, I think it was, for like $13,000.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So, yeah, we are getting a good bit from the Friends, and also they are looking at special projects. I have talked to them about a couple of special projects. I have talked to them. No, you're good, you're good. We talked to them about a couple of special projects. They are probably gonna help me out. I've kind of got an idea to create a small meeting room, not a conference room or that kind of thing like we have now, but a meeting room at our Walhalla branch back in the nonfiction section. The last couple of rows back there and everything, I mean, since we've taken out some nonfiction, don't really need as much space back there anymore, and are really desperate for meeting space. The 2 study rooms that we put in several years ago always stay busy, and then the meeting room is always in demand, plus we have our own programs in the meeting room. So I'd like to get facilities maintenance to build me a couple of walls. If they come out from the back wall and they come out from the South Broad Street wall, and build me a box, essentially, that can go all the way up to the false ceiling, because that area where the shelves are is a little more recessed than going all the way up to the clear story. There's a false ceiling there. So if I can get them to build me a couple of walls and put a door in there and everything, I can have a small meeting room or a small conference room that would allow like 8-10 people to meet. Our friends at the library could have their board meetings in there. You know, we could have an extra space for meeting, which is desperately needed. And the Friends have already said they could look into doing that. A couple other projects that we've talked about with the Friends, they've already done a lot with like some of our kits and some of our other stuff that we've got out. Just did get the math kits out, which was great. I don't want to start stepping all over them in the director's report. But just to say that the Friends have been an exceptional help. They are gung-ho on the sale. They're always taking donations. We're getting a ton of donations right now. I don't know if it's just because it's summer and everybody's cleaning out or what, but we're getting a ton of donations right now, but they are flat turning those things around and selling them out. So the little grab bags that they do in Walhalla are going like hotcakes. I think we just sold a couple more today. They are firing on all cylinders right now. We're just super grateful for that. We appreciate them and their efforts.
Okay. We'll move on to committee reports. Were there any committees that needed to give a report today?
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say from policy personnel, I'm still waiting on some information we need before we can actually come to the board and recommend any changes in the bylaws. And I just got information this morning, so the committee hasn't even had time to review that as a committee yet. So at this time, we don't have anything to recommend to the board, but give me till next meeting. Hopefully I'll have all the information in and I can get things out for you to review prior to the meeting and we can then have discussion and hopefully vote on it that meeting.
Okay. Anything, finance, building grounds,
We
community
do
relations?
have, we do have building and grounds. I did get, an email, from Paul, and I don't know if I can get it up on here. You all should be able to see these pictures on your screen, I hope.
Yeah.
That's the entrance?
Yeah, well, it's the side entrance to the, see if this comes up. It's the side entrance to the Walhalla branch. And ever since they put the new walkway in, when they did this whole like trail Wonderwing thing, there's really not enough space there next to the library to do anything other than they wanted to put in a new walk to make it all nice, to make it all look the same. Frankly, they didn't even have to replace that section of sidewalk, but it had gotten kind of, some of the sections were raised a little and down a little. I mean, it was bumpy. So they did come in and redo that. But as you can see, now when you do something like that, then the concrete leading up to the bricks and that whole area now looks
It looks bad.
bad.
Yeah.
As I was telling Paul before y'all came in, we don't necessarily, that side entrance is not one that we really encourage people to go in and out of. It's got the old doors, whereas the front, we have the electric doors now and that kind of thing. But people do gather out there on that porch to use Wi-Fi and stuff. And even if we are still, like, we don't necessarily want to encourage people to be out there, this area right here, you can see that board right there and the board on the other side. Now, what hadn't already been torn up a little bit from the past, when the guys came in to redo the walk, they finished the job. But I think it was the same garden club that did the trees and all down at the Pine Street side, the Lakes and Hills Garden Club. They had come in and tried to put, you can see they had tried to make a little bit of a bed there with those boards. But between COVID and then after that, and then when the city came in to do the walk, that pretty much ended that. So Paul and I were talking before you all came in about seeing if we could do something with that, at least on either side. We may not be able to go much further down because there's not much down there further along the building, but especially right in these areas where that, on either side of the concrete, and I probably need to get facilities maintenance to come fill in that crack too, but, on either side of the walk right there, let's see. That was a straight on, but anyway, on either side of that walk.
There's
what
a
they-
third picture, I think, that shows the other side that you haven't clicked yet. That one. Yeah. You can
Yeah.
kind of see that
So you can
right
kind
hand
of see
side.
that a
Yeah.
little bit. I think I had 4 open, sadly I closed one. But anyway, just wanted you all to see, we're gonna talk about, Paul and I just talked about, on the other side of the building, there was a space near our loading dock that over the years, the grass had died there and stuff, and it was just red dirt. And it had washed real bad, and the friends had complained about it because people were walking back and forth to the sale and everything. So facilities maintenance actually came in and put juniper bushes in to hold the soil and then mulched it for me. And I think that's what I'm gonna ask them to do over on this other side. Put in like some kind of, very low maintenance landscape plants and then mulch it in for me. So people walking up and down the trail, it won't look quite so rough.
That's a great idea.
Right, yeah.
And I think for now, I can get that done through county maintenance. We did talk about like maybe getting volunteers or even corporate sponsors if down the road we want to make that look a little nicer. But I think at least at first, I can get it done through our guys doing the same thing we did on the other side. Get some juniper or some like low plants that are gonna be low maintenance, drought resistant, get it mulched in, make it look nice. I think we can get that side looking good. It won't take too much effort. I kinda have to wait until, right now, there's only 2 guys that work mostly on the outside stuff. And they are, now that we finally started to get some rain again, they're back to like mowing. I mean, they mow all the county buildings. So I probably won't be able to get anything done until like fall when the mowing slows down a little bit. But I'm gonna ask, Brian is his name, the guy that does all the mowing and everything, does the outside maintenance for facilities maintenance. I'm gonna talk to Brian the next time they come mow. They just mowed, so it'll be a little bit. But the next time they come mow, I'm gonna ask them about doing that once everything slows down.
You know, Walhalla's the only town in the county getting rain, right? Like, nobody else is getting rain.
That
Yeah.
seems like it, yeah.
I know, yeah, we got a little bit, I actually live over in Clemson, we got a little bit, and then we haven't had much lately. My wife's had to go back out and start watering the garden
Yeah.
again, so.
It keeps going north.
Yeah.
It gets
Yeah.
right to us and it's
Well,
like, phew.
we actually, well, I'll cover it in the director's report, but we actually did have to replace one of our staff PCs at Salem. And I'll talk about that in the
Okay.
director's report. But I don't know if there was anything else as far as building and grounds, but I just know you had mentioned that.
That was it. And we can revisit this, next meeting will be September, so that'll just be when maybe grass is
True.
beginning to wind down.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
See, I love just grass. I just have to tell
Me too.
y'all, I don't like anything else, just plain old, just grass.
Well, we mentioned that, that's an option,
Yeah.
we can just grass.
I love just
Yeah, I mean,
seeing
we can
nice
get that filled
grass.
back in too. They had come in. Now
But
they-
it might be more maintenance.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think they're gonna object to coming in, putting in some juniper bushes and mulch.
Because they don't have to do much.
Then they won't
Yeah.
have to worry about the mulch until the spring.
Right.
So they probably won't object too much to doing mulch.
Is that stone though?
It is, it's
It's
gravel.
gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have to dig that up, right?
Yeah, that'll have to be raked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that won't take them.
It's
I know,
not
but I
that, it's
don't know
not
why
even that
anyone would
much.
have put that there. Lakes and Gardens wouldn't have done that for a flower
In
bed.
some beds, there are gravel beds. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
gravel in some
I
beds.
wanna say that the garden club did that. They put in the
Really?
jasmine or whatever it was, and then they did the gravel.
It's a good drainage if you use, the right gravel.
But, you know, then it
Water
washes and then
Uh-huh.
construction came and then, I mean, it looks cruddy now, but
Yeah.
when they did it, it didn't look too horrible.
Okay.
But it looks pretty rough now.
Maybe also, I guess this is wishful thinking, but maybe when we resolve the ramp in Seneca, maybe we can visit those steps sometime.
Yeah,
Because, replacing those steps would be great.
yeah. Or
That's
at
a-
least getting them to come fill that crack in and everything. It's pretty solid. They don't like, there's no give to them or anything, but it wouldn't be bad if they came and filled in that big, huge crack along.
That
Yeah,
and a
that'd
good
look
pressure
great.
washing may go a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think you and I talked about that too. I think once the mowing slows down, they have come and pressure washed out, and I don't know that, they may have done the side. Now that the new sidewalk is there, they won't have to do as much on that side, but they have done the front for me, as well, so. And they
If-
did come, we had a kind of a crack between where the asphalt and the concrete met in the front from years ago when they expanded the ramp for ADA in the very front of the building. Of course, I don't have a picture of that, but they came and put a little bit of some cement in cause there's been a kind of getting a gap between that, and they came and filled it in, so that looked pretty nice.
If that ends up being an issue, that's something my company, I'm sure would,
Okay,
just keep that in mind.
okay,
Yeah. We could pressure wash that.
okay.
Okay.
And then I don't know if,
I don't have anything.
cool,
Okay. Finance. I don't know who I'm looking for anymore.
Tara's not here.
Okay. So we'll move on to the chair's report. I don't really have much to report, but I will be sending out, I have a new email, which is, I need to send out to everybody. That way I can get back into communication. I had to send Blair an email this morning to be like, hey. do you
well, I
want to send me-"
apologize, I should've asked Shelby, I apologize.
No, that's on me, that's not on you.
All this stuff out and everything, and I know it went to the
Yeah.
previous address and everything. I should have asked Shelby for your new one last week, but she and I spoke this morning, and I got the new address, so that's why I was able to send
Yeah.
some of this other information that we got about the,
Yeah, so I'll get that out and then we can start, just sending to me, like, if anyone has a committee report, that way we can make the transition to make the committee reports a little bit smoother and faster. So we'll move on to the director's report. Back over to you, Blair.
Okay, really quickly, and I'll just go ahead kind of where I left off. Like I said, we've got, sorry, brain freeze all of a sudden. But anyway, just briefly, we are finishing up summer reading. This is our last full week of summer reading. So, we will have our regular programs that we still have through the rest of this week. Then next week, I think it's the 30th, so.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. We'll have the, end of summer bash out at South Cove. And then school starts Thursday, believe it or not.
Next Thursday?
What?
Crazy.
Next Thursday's the first?
Yep.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And all the schools start around here anyway, Pickens County, Oconee County, some Anderson County, yeah, August 1st.
I thought I just had my birthday and that was 1st of July, okay, so what happened? Man.
But we've had good summer reading, good participation. I don't know that our numbers are gonna be exactly as they were last year, but they're gonna be pretty close. Even with having Casey now, having replaced Darcy and everything, had good programs. We had good programs over at the Performing Arts Center. We had a really good one with Critter Keeper. He's always popular in June. Little less in July for the Science Heroes, but that guy did a really great job. Probably have him back again. Really good partnership with Performing Arts Center over here in Walhalla, so we'll continue to do that. And then a lot of our other programs we've had, really good attendance at and things. So I think our numbers are, if they're not exactly the same, they'll still be pretty good. The last I looked, participation wise, for our goal, we had 615,000 out of the 800,000 minutes, and we still got another. At that time, I looked a couple days ago, so we still got another week or so for people to complete. And as it gets closer to the end, we put up a few reminders. People will be logging, reading, and stuff in Beanstack to finish up. So I think we'll hit our goal. I think our numbers will be pretty good this year for both participation and completion. We'll be drawing for the prizes so we can give those out at the bash. So the reading logs or your logging reading needs to be done by Friday the 26th. And then we will, they'll do the drawings and everything, and we'll have prizes. Of course, if they can't make it out at the bash, then we'll have them available for them to pick up at whichever branch, that'd like to get them. But our grand prizes then will be drawn for after Friday. And then the end of summer bash is South Cove. We'll be out there, and we're gonna have the bookmobile out there. We're gonna have snow cones again. We're gonna have the fire truck out there with the big water curtain, and I think Humane Society will have a few dogs out there to adopt. We'll have the sheriff's department out there. We'll have all kinds of fun stuff for the kids, so and even the adults. So pretty happy with the way that has gone this year, and we're in pretty good shape. We've got a few things that we are kind of working on. Like I said, I'm kind of on the back burner for working on maybe a meeting space there in Walhalla. We have also started looking at the possibility of having a remote pickup locker for holes. We're kind of thinking, with the bookmobile, there's not been as big a need to have that in some other area of the county, because the bookmobile pretty much can meet a lot of the needs. We've actually been looking at the possibility of having it there in Walhalla, so people, if they can't make it while we're open, they can pick up their hold after we're closed, and it kind of extends our hours a little bit. So we're actually kind of looking at that. We've hit a bit of a snag. They don't really want to network it. We'd have to do it through wireless, which is okay. It's a little more expensive. But we were going to try to write an impact grant with the state library, and the deadline for that is next week. So I just did hear back from our IT department today that they want to do it this other way. So we may not be able to get on the impact grant, but honestly, they're in the 15,000, 18,000 range. That also sounds like a project I can ask the Friends for money, and they'll look at that as a great goal to have, no problem. So we're looking at doing something like that too. And then as far as everything else, we're in pretty good shape as far as staffing, as far as probably take some time off in August and not do as many programs and things. But we are already looking at doing the Hispanic Heritage Festival in September. We're already looking at doing Blue with the Blue again. We've already had some other requests to bring the bookmobile out. Bookmobile was at this last Saturday's. West Union did a back to school thing where they passed out backpacks. They ended up handing out 900 backpacks. We saw about 450 people just at the bookmobile over the 4 hours from 4 to 8 that they were there. So it was definitely worth us having the bookmobile there. We gave out all kinds of our swag. And so we're in the process of doing that. We are also in the process of getting our vehicles wrapped. Now that it's in the new fiscal year and we can spend money again, we have been working with Diamond T. They turned out to be the lowest bid, and so we are going to get all 3 of our vehicles. We're going to get the bookmobile rewrapped in our new livery, and then both of our vans. We have the little small van that we've had for a little while now, but it never got anything on it except the county seal. And then we have the bigger van that we just got last year that we used for our courier. We're gonna get all of three of them wrapped. I don't even have the design here yet, cause we haven't gotten the final proof back from Diamond T yet, so I don't wanna tease it. But probably we're gonna get them done, I'm hoping once a month. August will be kinda slow for programs because the, youth services has been going full guns all summer, so they're gonna take they're gonna do story time, but they're not gonna do a lot of programs in August. So the small van that they often use to go back and forth between programs and things, I think hopefully we can get it in first. And then we can use the small van for courier, cause we still have it outfitted like it was when we didn't have our other van. And we'll take the bigger van in September, and then October, the end of October, there's about 3 or 4 days in there. October is the first month where we have a bunch of days, it's like the 5th something, where she doesn't go out on bookmobiles, like the 5th Tuesday, 5th Wednesday, 5th Thursday. There's a whole week there in October, or almost a whole week. Cause she doesn't go out on Monday, she doesn't go out on Friday, and those last 3 days, 29, 30, 31 of October, so they've got that entire week there. They're gonna take the old wrap off and put the new one on, so by the end of October, we'll have all three of our library vehicles, will actually look like a little fleet, we'll have all three vehicles wrapped the same. And just so you all know, I am going to use some of our Nettles money for that. So I will, give you a final figure on that when it's done and everything else, but we will probably go ahead and use some of our gift money for that. Because that, is not something I would ask out of county. We'd either get the Friends to do that, and that would be another project I talked to them about. So if they're in on that, then I may not have to use Nettles money, or I might be able to get a combination of, and use both. They might wanna be in on it too, we could just add a little thing about, sponsored by the Friends, But,
Do we have a cost estimate for the wrapping?
what's that?
A cost estimate for the wrapping?
All told, I think we were in the, I really don't remember off the top of my head, but
Okay.
I wanna say ballpark was around 8 for all three.
Oh, okay,
So not,
not exorbitant.
not
Yeah.
ridiculous. But it'll really make everything look nice. I mean, the bookmobile the wrap that we did on it was, hey, we got a new bookmobile, we gotta have something on it. I didn't, have all the graphics help and everything that I have now with some of the folks that I have working for us now that can do that kind of stuff, because the design that you'll eventually see, that was done in-house. Bethany Culp did that for me. She's my collection management person. But she also does a lot of my graphics work and all the social media, that kind of stuff, and she did that. So what you'll see eventually, we're pretty thrilled with it. We're pretty thrilled with it. And, so it'll just be nice to have all of our vehicles looking the same.
That, after hours hold pickup you were discussing, what would that look like? How would that work?
It's just a big locker. Like if you're familiar with the Amazon pickup lockers that they have at various places, it's that.
Okay.
And it just has a computer screen. You come up, scan your card, and then it says what drawer to pick up your holdout of. And
Oh, nice.
we
Okay.
place them that way. We hadn't thought of that, I guess. Anyway, thank you. But anyway, so it would be like that. It's like an Amazon locker or something like
Okay.
that, where you just go. We'd have, I think the one we were looking at, both of the companies, I think they had 16, 19 slots, something like that. And of course, if it was there at the branch, we could take care of it daily, and it would sit right next to the book drop. So it's not like we would even need to use the return feature. Now, if we ever get one for a truly remote location, we'd want to let people return books at it as well. And then the
Right.
courier, our courier Maddie, she would pick up, every couple of days or whatever, and drop the holds off, fill the holes for people. But since it would probably, the first one we're gonna do is probably gonna be right there at the Walhalla branch, it'll be fairly easy to maintain. But it'll be nice because, even if we don't have a bunch of people, it'll be nice to extend the holds, and honestly, we could even fill it for holes, and like if you really don't wanna come in, all you have is, I wanna pick up my hole, you don't really wanna come in the building.
Sure.
We'll still count those statistics anyway, so either way, it'll be fine.
Yeah, cool.
But that is pretty much, I think that's pretty much it on the, yeah, the only other thing I was gonna say was that I had actually had it on the agenda earlier, and then I decided to take it off because we had a bunch of things we were gonna talk about tonight, but just very briefly, state aid. I had spoken to y'all previously about that amendment to Proviso 27.1, it did go through. That was why we had to do that little form that certified that we have a collection development policy, that we have a reconsideration policy, and that we have it's clear on our applications, you know, when a child can get a card on their own. And we did fill that out, Nick and I signed it, we've already sent that to Columbia, so first quarter state aid, we're all set. And then this paperwork that I got signed tonight, that'll cover the rest of the year. We did get the quarter increase though. So this year, we're in line to get about $196,000 in state aid. So we did get about $20,000 and $20,600 and something increase in state aid. And I think I've spoken to y'all previously about library hoping to get off on its own server so that maybe we can get a little more functionality to our computers. And I think that I've kind of, right now, I've parked that additional state aid into IT money. If they don't end up being able to do it this year, then we'll come up with some other things that we want to use it for. But right now, I have parked that money, that additional $20,000 in IT, so that if they come through and tell me, okay, we can get the equipment to do, you know, server and get you off on your own net and all that kind of stuff, and then they need whatever they need for the computers to software and stuff, licenses, that kind of thing for the computers to get them off on their own network, I'll have the money available. So right now I'm kind of parking that additional state aid and not spending it on extra. We are looking at adding a couple of services. We have a meeting Thursday with the people at Hoopla. You may have heard of Hoopla. That's another streaming service that we're looking at adding. We might replace Flipster for magazines, because Hoopla also has magazines, and Canopy, which we have right now for streaming video. We may it's not a done deal yet, but we may replace that with Hoopla, which a lot of other library systems use. It's also pay-per-use. It can get expensive. We would definitely have to really, really stay on top of, because it's, you know, people get so many plays a month and that kind of thing, and that can be, but that gives them the option for more stuff like audiobooks, ebooks. We would keep Cloud Library, but then because the content that you buy in Hoopla and the stuff they already have in there can be checked out by multiple patrons, where Cloud Library, you can't do that. If it's checked out, it's like a regular library book, it's checked out. Hoopla, more than one person can have it out at a time. So it not only would be good for the movies and whatever, but it would also expand our ebook offerings without having to buy a whole bunch of new ebooks. So we're really looking at that. We have a meeting with their folks on Thursday afternoon at 2, and then I'll be getting more information back to you all about that. And that's it.
One question, food share, how's that distribution going?
What's that?
Food share, the distribution?
I'll let you know tomorrow. Tomorrow's our first one.
Oh, really? I thought they've been doing it a month now.
Nope.
Okay.
Tomorrow is our very first one.
Okay,
Tomorrow,
okay.
the 24th, I think it 12 to 2, maybe? Can't remember I think it's 12 to 2, but anyway, I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow, because tomorrow's our first one.
Okay.
And I actually went ahead and got one, because I want to see what they look like. I want to see what's in them. We are, if you don't remember, I know I sent out a thing about it, or it's been on our social media, but we are for Feed and Seed in Greenville does a food share. You buy a food share box. The box is $20. You get an assortment of fruits and vegetables, and then people that are on EBT or SNAP can get it for just $5. They order in advance, pre-order, and then we are gonna become a pickup site over here at the Walhalla Library. We're not doing it, they have volunteers that are gonna come and actually give the boxes out, but people will come to the library and pick up their food share boxes. Previously, the only site they had in Oconee County was down in Seneca at Blue Ridge Community Center.
Right.
Now they have a site in Westminster at the Rec Center, and starting tomorrow, Walhalla Library will be a site. So we'll have 3 sites in Oconee County for food share pickup.
That's awesome.
Every other week on Wednesday. I wanna say it's 12 to 2, but yeah, I'll let you know tomorrow after our first one.
Cool.
Sounds good, thank you.
So were you pleased with the quality of the one you bought?
What's that?
Were you
Yes.
pleased with the quality of the
Oh, I
one you
don't know. I'll
bought?
find out
Doesn't know yet.
tomorrow.
Oh, you hadn't gotten it yet?
No,
Okay.
I went ahead and got one or
Ordered.
reserved one.
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
I'll find out tomorrow.
I thought you might have like
They
got
are-
one from
they-
Greenville.
They are, they try to keep it local when they can, but they do supplement it with some other stuff because they wanna make sure that the quality stays up, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
You've seen them,
Well, I've worked for them.
Yeah, you work with them.
Yeah,
You've seen
so-
it. Yeah, the quality should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to getting it, looking forward to seeing what's in this one. I'm thinking it's definitely ought to be, some corn, some peaches,
Probably peaches, yeah.
but we'll see. But yeah, our first distribution is tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to old business. I believe that the first item, the discussion of bylaws, I think we're gonna push that to the next meeting, as Shelby mentioned in her report. So the next section of old business is the ADA ramp in the Seneca branch.
All right, just a quick update on that. We have gotten a little more information, on that. I think they are about to go ahead and put it out to bid. The amount that we got from county council probably is not gonna cover. And the reason for that is because when they came and did the bid several years ago now, I think they were only looking at the ramp area. And when, we went out and did another, when one of the possible vendors came out and looked at it more recently here about a month ago, 2 months ago, they've also decided that if we're gonna put our handicap parking spaces in the front again, which is where they need to be for this ramp, that's not level right now. And so I don't think Thomas and Hutton, the engineers, when they gave me the original estimate, I don't think they had included grading, asphalt, all that kind of stuff in. Added an expense to it, so right now we're not where we need to be with the money that was passed in the ordinance. However, I have talked to the county grants writer, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Ms. Brock yet, but I think we're gonna try to go back to county council and see if they'll amend and add, enough. So it is out for bid right now with the old amount, but I don't have any other details other than that. But we're still on track to try to do this. There'll probably be, it's never easy, and it'll probably end up drawing out the process. In other words, I don't see it happening this fall, but, I think we're still gonna get there.
So then why do we have Emily reporting that it's not gonna happen? I went over there yesterday and spoke with Jonathan, cause I wanted to see how uneven this was. And how do you get engineers that don't think ramp has to go to the vehicle?
Oh, that happens all the time, so.
Well, that's
Not only
unacceptable.
that, but I just did speak with Brittany Martin this morning about the possibility of additional money, so they don't even know that yet. I mean, as far as Emily was concerned, our amounts, what council passed and what we figured out was probably gonna end up actually taking are so far apart.
So it wasn't a line item removal?
No,
Yeah, can you disclose what the amount is to the county?
not,
Not, yeah, not
yeah, I
open,
don't
yeah, not on the
wanna,
main.
we don't have executive session on the docket for tonight, but I can let you know later on. But yeah, since it's an ongoing thing and they have active bids, I don't wanna. mess
Do
up
we have
anything.
any bids currently?
I don't know if she's gotten any bids yet, but Tronda, Popham, our procurement person, has put it out for bid, I think. I haven't looked on the website yet, but she said she was going to.
do you know
So
when
I
the
think it's
deadline
out,
is?
But I don't know if we've gotten any yet.
Yeah, do you know when the deadline is for it?
I don't know that, but I can look and find out. I can let you all know.
I mean, cause that's a, honestly, God, based on what I was reading in our packets, I was hoping that soon we would have a council meeting, because that's ridiculous if we don't get that. That to me is so essential.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's been a year that we've been
Oh,
trying to.
over, Cliff, you know it's
Yeah.
over than that. It was a year since we had the engineering
Anyway,
done.
Yeah.
we're still massaging the process, so I was a little less optimistic until I spoke with Ms. Martin this morning, and it sounds like we may still be able to find money with council to be able to do it, so.
Well, again, I will publicly announce this. If you need someone to speak to council about this stuff, I'd be happy to represent our board and speak to them and tell them what a necessity. I mean, handicapped people cannot use the return book drop box. And those rails aren't, even for regular people, aren't great, okay? So, and this has been this way, well, since we've all been on this board. So, yeah, it just.
Fixing the ramps a whole lot cheaper than a lawsuit.
1968.
Yeah,
there's that.
I mean,
Honestly, yeah.
the next step is contacting like an
lot.
ADA organization and letting them get involved, you know what I mean? And then there'd be trouble.
If somebody
Well, the other option that we had, and I'm still staying with the ramp in the front. The other option we have is taking the money that we do have and making that ramp back in the back nicer and easier to get into and putting a cover all the way out on it from the parking lot. That's an option, but right now I wanna stay with what we have in our design now and stay with what we have at the moment.
And I guess what I'm hearing is the county has not dismissed us.
No.
Okay, so let's give them a chance before we,
So we'll continue, I'll continue to work through Miss Martin and Miss Brock, and we'll see what we can get done.
Great.
And I will let you all know just as soon as I
Yeah, I was gonna say,
have more information.
Johnny had the spot
When
with
it-
that
When
one
it
box.
might go before council again or that kind of thing, obviously, I will let you all know.
okay.
thank you.
Okay, we can move on to new business. The first item is a discussion leading to a vote on a change of the DVD policy. Do you want to give us some background on that?
Okay, well, our current checkout per card on DVDs is 6. It's been that way for a long time. I think when we initially got DVDs back in the Stone Age, I think it was 3, because they were still pretty expensive and we were just moving from VHS to DVD and that kind of thing. And then I think we went to 6, and it's kind of stayed there for a while. Well, I mean, we have a lot more DVDs now than we ever used to have. And then we've kind of peaked. I mean, and then if you've kind of stayed up with it, I think, you know, there's no more Redbox. That just went south here, you know, a couple months ago. Best Buy said they're not gonna be selling DVDs anymore, because everything's going streaming. So I think because of there's more broadband in the county and that kind of thing, some of our folks that used to just get DVDs now have been able to get streaming and stuff. So the ones that are truly in need of the DVDs and still can't, we're like, hey, we wanna give them a little bit more. So we figured that moving from 6 to 10, now that we have a lot more DVDs and are still buying DVDs, we'll be buying DVDs hopefully for a while longer, at least through nothing else, Amazon, and I can't see they'll quit selling them. That's where we get a lot of ours. We wanted to go ahead and move to 10 per, card, either juvenile unrestricted or adult card, so that they can take out a little bit more at a time. Especially with a lot of these now where they wanna take home multiple seasons of something to binge watch it. If you only have 6 and it's a 12 DVD season or whatever, then you gotta wait, and then the other one might be out, and you gotta wait. So if they could, get 10 at a time, that would give them a little bit more, ability, especially with some of those series that people are streaming and everything that they wanna binge watch.
How long are they checked out for?
DVDs are a week, 7 days. So you get 10 for 7 days instead of 6.
Okay.
And you haven't had any problems with getting them back and all that, like it's.
Not any more than normal.
Okay.
Not any more than normal.
Yeah.
I mean, not any more than
A book.
really other materials, right?
Yeah.
Other materials over the years.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be, I think, a few.
Yeah.
For a while, it seemed like we were always buying Harry Potter because it disappeared, so we could take it and not bring it back, or we were always buying, heck, way back in the day, Twilight or something. I mean, something like that. But they're not such outliers that I would say, ooh, it's not a good idea to go up to 10. The staff really wanted to see us be able to do that because they see a lot of people check out, and then they come up and they've got 1 or 2 on hold, and they bring up 5 or 6, and they're like, oh, I gotta put one back, and then, so we just figured 10 gave people a little bit more cushion, a little bit more space.
So let me ask you this, if there were to be another, I'm gonna say blockbuster, quote unquote, that came out that you bought, would you want the ability to have that one restricted? Although 10 is the norm, but because of the popularity or something, so you don't have it out as long?
We
or-
haven't, to be honest with you, we haven't done that with DVDs. Even if it's a big movie, we generally do try to buy like one copy for
Enough.
every branch,
Uh-huh.
including Bookmobile and maybe a couple extras.
Uh-huh.
We really haven't ever had the problem with a very popular like movie
Uh-huh.
or series or whatever that we've had with, let's say, a book that we end up with 25 holds on. We feel like we need to buy a couple of B&T copies to
Uh-huh.
supplement to make sure that holds list doesn't grow. We've really never had a problem
Okay.
with DVDs in that same vein that we did with, let's say, the latest James Patterson or.
Right.
Or Roberts or something like that, where that list gets long.
Yeah, I was thinking in my head that might, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we've really never had to limit, like, on certain ones, or say, oh, that's only a 3-day checkout because it is so popular or whatever. We've really never had to do that with DVDs.
Okay.
Make a motion that we approve the 10 DVDs?
Policy change? Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Will pass. All right, next on the list is a discussion on the Library of Things policies.
All right, and this one, because it is a little bit more detailed, I did go ahead and include it in your packet. So hopefully you got a chance to kind of look at it. It really is just a one-pager though. And the reason I bring this to you is because in the past, we didn't have that much stuff. When we got telescopes, when we got launch pads, we just came to you all with individual, okay, pass the policy on this. So if you look at our current existing policy, there's a whole thing just on telescopes. And, okay, they're out for so long and this, that, and the other thing. Well, two things really happened. One, Casey, our new youth services librarian, when she wrote her grant this year for the state library for summer reading, instead of spending it on programs or that kind of thing, she asked to have a whole bunch of new stuff ordered, games, outdoor games, and a lot of kind of stuff for Library of Things. So we did that. And then Leah Price over at our Westminster branch, she had started and been accumulating a bunch of things. She had previously done our Reminisce kits, which, for seniors, but also for people with like memory impairment and that kind of stuff to really help out. Well, she had also started accumulating a bunch of other stuff for some accessibility kits. Stuff like big print readers and grabbers and garden stools and a bunch of other cool stuff. Well, between the big orders, the last order that we could spend money in June of our last fiscal year, and then our big orders in July that have just now started coming in, they had some time to process. So all of a sudden, we've added a whole bunch of new things to our Library of Things. We have all kinds of different stuff, kits, all this kind of stuff, and a lot of them had different policies. We had different forms and things for people to fill out, and it was kind of getting weird, honestly, and cumbersome. And I realized too that other than the individual things, I really had never brought to you all a cohesive policy. So now we have the Library of Things policy, and pretty much I think about the only thing that we have some slight differences because of like different items cost different prices and that kind of stuff. So we pretty much said, cost of the item or the bag or whatever. But for the most part, 14-day, no renewals, checked out on an adult card, cannot be placed on hold, overdue fines $1 per day, 14 maximum. One Library of thing or item, let's say, per card. Launch pads aren't going to count in that because those are like an educational thing. We treat them more like a book, so we aren't counting launch pad. So you can have a Library of Things thing, game, whatever, and a launch pad. They do need to be returned to the circulation desk because a lot of these things either have multiple parts or they're fragile or that kind of thing, so we don't want them in the book drop. And they should be returned to the original lending branch because we've kind of farmed some things out depending on what a branch wanted. There's certain things that just live at certain branches, like if you get the fishing equipment, you take it back to Westminster because that's where it lives and that kind of thing. And then we have some stuff on here, instead of, we kind of had a form for a while that we get a lot of information now. They basically check the person's ID to make sure that the ID matches the card and verify that the account is in good standing. You give the patron the Library of Things policy and have them sign the borrower agreement, so we have one agreement for everything, because before we had, here's the telescope agreement, here's the microscope agreement, here's the launchpad agreement. So now we have one Library of Things agreement, basically, okay? And then when they come back in, you check them to make sure that all the parts are included and the electronic devices are functioning in working order. And when you check them out, and then when you check them back in, you do the same thing again. So really, it took all of our Library of Things, whether they're games, whether they're electronics, whether they're sports equipment, whether they're whatever it is, and put them all under one umbrella. There are slight differences, like in prices and things, and we've got that listed out in our, like in the catalog. But we just wanted to have one cohesive policy that covered all of the Library of Things stuff. instead of just coming to you each time we added something with another add-on. So this will also fold the telescopes into it. We'll just take that part out or kind of include it in this policy. We wanted to just have one single policy for all this stuff.
Does that count the park passes too? Or is that separate?
I think we count the park, we kind of have them rolled into the library of things, but I
Okay.
think they count separately. Like, I think you could have a park pass and you can't have more than one pass. Like, you can have a
Right.
park pass and a museum pass. I think you can have a park pass and still take out a library of things.
I got you.
In fact, I think even at the branches, we have them in a separate area. I think they're kind of in the same colors and in the same style now, so it is all like library of things. But I do believe that the passes are still handled separately since they're more of like an experience pass instead
Right,
of an actual item.
right. Gotcha.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the change in policy?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Who was in a second?
Cliff.
Cliff?
Thanks, Liv.
Moving on to the last item of new business, changes to the reconsideration policies. I'm assuming that's a policy when people challenge a book,
Correct.
right?
Correct. That's the policy, 2 book challenges, and we have been fortunate that we have had very few in Oconee County, but just in, talking with other directors in the state, and especially after the proviso, the amendment to the proviso passed, 27.1, that did talk about prurient interest and all that kind of thing, trying to get ahead of any possible book challenges that we might get. We just wanted to sort of beef up the policy a little bit so that we didn't have the situation where you had one person challenging, just going through a list of books and challenging, I want to challenge this one and this one and this one. We said, hey, look, and again, this is kind of best practices that I've gotten from other directors when we've discussed all this. So we said that basically, you can only have one open challenge at a time, because it takes time. I mean, I have to look at it, if it's a children's book, which is the ones that are most people probably gonna get challenged, I have to look at it, and Casey has to look at it. We render our decision, and then if they wanna make an appeal, they come to you all. Now, we did pass, sometime either earlier this year or last year, we gave it some, like, okay, here's when you can expect it, so many business days, all that kind of stuff. We've done that previously. But in this case, we wanted to just make it to where you can only have each user, patron, citizen, whatever, can have one open at a time. Once you get our decision on that, then if you wanna file another one, awesome. But one open at a time. And then also, once that title has been reconsidered by us and our decision is to leave it, then we're not gonna reconsider it again. I don't wanna get 15 requests about the same book. If we've said we're gonna keep it, then if I get another one on it, I'll just say, our decision has already been made, it was our decision, and, we don't go through the process again and again and again on the same time.
Do you need to put it, thinking about that, do you need to maybe look at a time frame where you wouldn't reconsider, like, for 5 or 10 years? Do you think there could be,
We looked at that, we thought about that, some libraries do have that, but honestly, unless it is the more we thought about it, unless it's like a classic or something like that we might keep for a long time, honestly, by the next time, we would say, let's say 5 years, by the next time we did that, more than likely, we would have weeded it, on a lot of our
Gotcha.
titles.
Gotcha.
So that's why we just said if.
and I'm not proposing any of
Right.
that, I
was
just am
gonna
trying to
say,
think,
I was prepared
think it
if you
through.
all had said, wow, that's pretty draconian, we may wanna consider a term or whatever. I was fully prepared to say like 4 years, 5 years or whatever, but just our reasoning behind saying never again is because unless it is a classic, something that we would have in there, or like something that we would have long enough that, let's say 4 years from now, the culture has changed and the ideas about that item or title have changed and wow, boy, that's outdated now or whatever, which in that case, we usually try to cover that with our weeding policy.
And in that case, we would also just come back and change the policy again in that many years.
Correct.
Hopefully, we'll review the policies before that time. So, yeah.
At the moment, we just had said, go ahead and go with, we won't reconsider it. But if we get a lot more, or if that starts to be a problem, or, if we do run into where they're challenging things that we would keep for a long time and maybe, hey, look at it 5 years from now, man, that title it didn't age well. We could revisit revisit it.
Well, in that way, I
Our
think we
recommendation-
also stay clear of politics within the board, because then people are like, oh, well, this board didn't do what we wanted to, so we're just gonna wait till they, we're gonna get them out and get people in there that will review it again.
That
and,
was,
Like,
you know,
it's a lot that could happen with
some
that.
of the libraries, like I said, do have 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, I think even in a couple of cases. But some of them had recommended just going with, we're not gonna look at it again, because more than likely on most of the things you have, by that time, it won't even be popular anymore, or you won't even have it then, and,
Yeah. I also think it's possible, like if a situation were to occur, which I don't think it ever would. I mean, people are allowed to come give public comment about the policies.
Right,
And the board at that time can
would
review
review the
that
policy,
policy
yeah.
and change it, if there is a special circumstance that does demand it. But I agree, I don't think that will occur.
Yeah.
But, so any other discussion about it? Can I get a motion to approve the addition of the policy changes?
I'll make a motion.
Oh,
Make a motion?
okay. I'll second it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Unanimous? And I believe, if there's nothing else, that we can officially adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Awesome.
I second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
There we go.